How do I make my drums sound huge? I am Egomi, and I'm going to show you how I layered kick drums in my track Drunk Butterfly to make a huge kick drum sound. For those who haven't seen my spotlight video on this track yet, go check it out. It's on Machine Masters. It's pretty dope, and I'm appreciative of them for sharing their platform with me. Alright, so here's the beat. Drums. Alright, so first thing you'll notice is I've got 6 kick drums playing at once. 6, that's a lot. So when I was creating this beat, I wanted to make a kick drum that was huge. That was my goal. It was just massive. It was big. I just wanted something that would hit really hard and just sound obnoxiously huge and thick. So I went through my samples and chose a bunch of different samples, and I probably ended up deleting some and keeping some and winding it down eventually to these 6 right here. And this part is important. When listening through the kicks, I chose a main kick, the kick that I wanted to build everything else around. I think that's really important, to choose one kick and say, this is going to be my focal kick, and then all the other kicks I'm going to build around it, and I'll explain that. So here, let me just play that main kick right now. So I chose this as the main kick because it's thick. It's got a bunch of low end. It feels very meaty and just already it's a pretty big kick drum. And I started out with that, and then when I went to add something else, another kick, say like this. Okay, I liked this kick, but I made sure I built this kick around the main kick. I think this is important. This is mixing. So with mixing, even with a song, you start with a vocal, you have your focal point, and you build everything around that. I think that's important even with layering drums. So, I had the main kick, and then I take this second kick, which I really liked. I love the texture. I love everything in it, and I EQ'd it. I EQ'd it to fit the main kick. So if I take this EQ off and play it, it sounds fine, but it doesn't sound focused. And when I EQ'd it, I took out some low end. It sounds a little more focused. I can hear that low end of the main kick more. Whereas if there was no EQ, it would be. So it's just a little bit more focused, and it doesn't feel as muddy, if that makes sense. And so same thing, then I had the next kick, which sounds like this. Okay, that's pretty cool. I like how wide it is. I liked how punchy it is. So when I went to add it with the main kick, it just sounds a lot punchier. It sounds, it's wider, obviously, in the stereo field. And same thing, I used the EQ. And obviously this is actually a little crazy. I'm not sure why all this is going on. So if I didn't have the EQ on there, it sounds pretty good, but again, it feels kind of muddy. It feels kind of like there's just a lot of low end being taken up. So when I add this EQ where I'm just taking out a lot of low end, it doesn't feel as muddy and like there's just tons of things going on in low end, because keep in mind, I want to leave space for when I add this 808. I want the 808 to not clash with 6 kick drums, So then when I have all of these combined, it still feels very focused because I carved out room in these layers for the main kick to shine through. So I have the main kick, and you can still feel the low end impact of that main one kick that's focused and driving. In the same way, then I went and added this one. What's this one sound like? Okay, so this, it has a cool texture, like a vinyl sound, as well as I like the decay of it. It sounds like it's almost like in a room, or like reverb kind of. So I guess I liked this because when I added it in with everything else, it had that fade out quality. Like without it, it feels kind of stale, but then with it, it has that room quality, which I really like and think is cool. And if you notice on this kick drum right here, I don't have any effects. So I guess it was fine as it was. I didn't need to add anything in this particular one. All right, so now for this fourth layer right here, let's see what this sounds like. Okay, I guess maybe I liked the texture in it or something. I don't know what I was thinking at the time, but I guess, you know, I liked it for some reason. And it fit into the sound of everything else. So if I, you know, put it all at once without it, with it, it's pretty subtle, but you know, I guess it adds a little bit. And then let's see this last kick. All right. All right. That's like a joke. All right, we're just gonna mute that because clearly that's not doing like anything. We're just gonna hide that because, so of these 5 kicks that I have, so we can play that here. Everything sounds very focused and it sounds big. It does exactly what I wanted it to do. If I hadn't have added these EQs to it, yeah, it's big, and it actually might seem bigger, but in a track, it actually seems very crowded, especially when I add the 808 in. It would feel very crowded. Let me show you. Whereas with these EQs on, that cut out a lot of the low end in those layered kicks, it's still, the kick feels full, but it doesn't feel like it's just taking up all the space. One interesting thing I just noticed about this last layer right here is that, look at this EQ, what I'm doing. I'm literally cutting out all of the low end. And I think that's important because I already have the low end in this, and I already have the residual low end of all these other kicks, to where this kick, I don't need any of it at all because I already have enough between all these other ones. So I think it's important to choose what you are looking for in a sample. So, you know, with this sample, I really liked the texture. With this sample, I really liked the punch and the width of it. So I made sure to keep the width, but I took out the stuff I didn't need, which was maybe a lot of that bass, which was unnecessary because I already had it in this main kick. And all of these kick layers have a specific reason to be there. So when you're layering kicks, I think it's really important, you know, find your goal. So my goal was I just want it to be huge. And then second is find samples that sound huge and that you want to use. And then choose one to be your main sound that you want to build everything else around. And then mix all the other ones around it accordingly. So I would solo every layer that I did. I would solo that layer with the main kick and make sure it sounded good. And if it didn't sound good, sounded too muddy, I EQ'd it. And I did that with all of them. I went through and made sure that every single one sounded good with the main kick, and I think that's really important. But I think if you have a main kick that's your punch, that you build everything else around, you will have still a punchy kick drum that feels huge. Now I hope all that isn't too confusing. I know it's basically just mix technique, at least the way I mix. You know, in any track, you find the main focal point and you build everything else around it, and everything feeds into that main thing. And I think if you find a main kick drum that is punchy and has qualities that you want, then everything else you build around it, as long as you just take away the parts that are cutting into that main kick, and take away the things that would interfere with that main kick, you'll do just fine. You'll have a punchy kick with all those added layers and textures and sounds to it. So I hope this helps you guys. If you're trying to make a big kick drum and you're just trying to layer drums, or you're just trying to layer snares or something else, I hope the concepts in this video really help. If you guys use this content or you learn something, definitely let me know. I'd love to hear it. So DM me or put it in the comments below. If you have any ideas for new tutorials, also let me know, because I'm loving making these tutorials and I hope you guys like them too. If you do, definitely subscribe and hit the bell button, because that allows you to get a notification every time I post these. So if you're interested in it, then you'll be notified right away and you'll be able to watch it. It would really help me out, and it would help you guys out, hopefully, if you guys are learning something. So I hope you guys have a good day and keep making bangers.